It's another Acoustic Alternatives from Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, the home of the podcast for nearly 5 years. They gave me an opportunity to do this shortly after losing my job in the pandemic, and it has been certainly a source of joy for me, an outlet for me to be able to expose people to music I think you need to hear. So if you're following me on Acoustic Alternatives, whether it's the YouTube video playlist I put out every week, the occasional podcast, and there's 3 coming up this month as soon as I get them all edited for you, or if you listen to me on Radio Cobra Detroit or Sonic Coast, 2 radio stations that let me do a show on their internet radio stations, thank you for your support. It's very much appreciated. Grove Studios has been a supporter the whole time. In fact, they're supporting me on Sonic Coast in a different way. So if you are a musician and you're looking for a place to practice, you've got band practice and no place to do it, you don't want to annoy your neighbors, this is perfect. There's several studios in here. I've got my guest today in the largest of the studios. I'm welcoming back to a studio in front of me for the first time in 10 years, Noah Guthrie. Hello, Noah. How are you today?
Hello. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you again. Yeah, it was about 10 years ago that I had you in this previous radio station I worked at. It was a voice that I had discovered via, I believe, Noise Trade and the covers that were posted there.
Noise Trade,
yes,
man.
Noise Trade's gone, although swallowed up by Paste, I think. Right?
Yeah, wow. I totally forgot about Noise Trade.
Yeah, well, that to me, that was the door opener to how I found your music, because it was like, get this music for free, and if you like it, support them, or subscribe to their email address, or whatever. And it was your cover of Sexy and I Know It that got my attention, and which is, I think, a starting point for a lot of folks. That has a few views.
Yeah, you know.
You've done all right with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the 10 years since we've last saw each other in this sort of a setting where we're talking to each other and having a chat. But first, before we do a little bit of a chat, how about a song? And you can go forwards or backwards, whatever you want to do. Something new, something old.
Yeah, awesome. I'll do something brand new. This is it's a song called Root Down. It's a brand new single of mine. You can, obviously get it wherever you get your music these days. And I wrote this with my good friends Joy Williams and Bobby Hamrick. And just really, really happy with it. Nice, positive, kind of uplifting song called Root Down.
Every field painted with wild, wild flowers meets the kiss of wilting cold, and the creek that fills with winter water by the summer is no more. But I don't want to live that way. I don't want to let the season break me. Ain't gonna let the wind drag me across the sky. Go and set the hills on fire. I'll be that crooked oak still standing. If it heals me, if it kills me, I'll root down, root down, root down, root down. I hear a whisper over each new morning, telling me to hope again. I hear angels in the air, she's singing. If you go without, go within. 'Cause I don't wanna live that way. I don't wanna let the season break me. Ain't gonna let the wind drag me across the sky. Go and set the hills on fire. I'll be that crooked oak still standing. If it heals me, if it kills me, I'll root down, root down, root down, root down. Both feet on the ground. 'Cause I don't wanna live that way. I don't wanna let the season break me. Ain't gonna let the wind drag me across the sky. Go and set the hills on fire. I'll be that crooked oak still standing. If it heals me, if it kills me, I'll root down, root down, down, root down, root down, root down, root down, root down.
Oh, yeah. That is really good. Root Down, brand new music from Noah Guthrie. And there are 3 previous records, by the way. There is the first one, which I'm going to hold up to the camera here, which is already autographed by you from our first visit.
Wow.
Well, we met that time. And then these other lovely 2 albums that are also still available some way, digitally or physically, I don't know. But this means with a new song, there might be a 4th one of these coming. I don't know if you're still going to go that route. You're going to do a CD or you're going to skip that?
Well, I think so. I think it's funny, as we tour and stuff, you always want merch items and things, and I think people still ask us about CDs, even though it's, I don't know many people that use them anymore, and obviously vinyl's having a resurgence, but working on an album right now, and I'd say it's probably, we're 70% of the way there, I think, and so hoping to finish that up early this summer, and then start promoting and get it out later this year. It's exciting. I'm very excited. It'll be my fourth record, which is weird. It's weird to think about.
It sounds great so far. The one track is a great lead-in, and you mentioned Joy Williams. I have a quick, boom, boom, boom moment. I got to pick her up from the Michigan Theater where she was playing the Civil Wars, take them back to the station, interview them, and bring them back. And she sat next to me in the seat next to me. And I was
she's lovely. She's great.
Hi, Joy.
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't remember that if you're watching this, but
no, she was great. It was always kind of a bucket list writing session, and it just kind of worked out of nowhere, really. And I'm really happy that it did. And, her and Bobby both were just absolutely great to work with.
I'm not familiar with him, but I am.
He's incredible.
I know how to use Google, so I'm going to find him.
Look him up. He's responsible for a lot of really great work out there.
Very cool. Well, I think Greer is still home. Greer, North Carolina.
Yes, it is. Yeah, South Carolina. Yeah.
South Carolina. Sorry, there's 2 of them.
All good. Yeah, there are 2 Carolinas. I'm very close to North Carolina, so
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not far from Asheville, right?
Yeah, I think I'm like an hour south or an hour east, I guess.
And they were devastated not too terribly long ago by a storm.
Yeah, we were too. It was it was.
How long ago was that?
That was I guess that was 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months now.
Yeah,
can't even remember. But it was I mean, I was without power for I think 9 or 10 days, and obviously Asheville got hit very, very hard, and they're still recovering. They just now opened up the major highway there, I-40, and we were driving up through it to get to this last show last night, and it was just, it's crazy how much of that road was washed away. I was thinking it was just like a little portion of it. It is like miles and miles of it is out. But it's, a very resilient territory. And people are just helping one another and kind of getting back on their feet when they can. So it's been an interesting ordeal the last couple months.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. What was it like? What was it like growing up there? I mean, that's a different part of the world than where I grew up. I grew up in the suburb of Detroit, right? So I'm very, very much a city boy.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, it's funny. I wouldn't say I'm not as country as you can get, but I'm definitely not as city as you can get either. So I think I'm kind of on like the countryer version of the suburbs. But Greer is a little town in between 2 bigger cities, Greenville and Spartanburg. And it's one of the fastest growing areas in the country. And tons of, it's a big manufacturing hub, big, factory town. And, growing up, there wasn't a ton to do. Now there's quite a bit to do, actually. But it's always been, it's called the foothills because we're kind of at the bottom of the Blue Ridge Mountains there.
Okay.
And it's always just been a really beautiful place. And I think it's, when I was a kid and kind of growing up through high school and stuff, I always, you dream of leaving your town and getting out and, exploring and stuff. And I think, now that I've toured so much and I've seen a lot of the world and a lot of the country, and especially when the pandemic hit and I had a lot of time to kind of sit down and reconnect with my home, it's my favorite place to be. It's,
nice.
I really still, I call it home. It's where my family is, my friends are, and yeah, it's just a beautiful area. It's really, really nice.
Did you get into trouble as a kid because there wasn't much to do? I mean, you can't say too much because your dad's across the room.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I didn't, honestly. Not in any kind of big way. I was maybe a little too good of a boy. But, you know, I've got an older brother, so I got into plenty, you know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I was the fourth of four, so I saw what they did wrong, and I didn't
okay.
repeat those
Right.
things. Like,
Yeah.
oh, don't do that. Lori got in trouble for that.
I understand.
Yeah, so being the youngest sometimes is an
Yeah, it's a
advantage.
help sometimes, yeah.
Well, at some point, well, you said Blue Ridge Mountain, and immediately the voice of John Denver was in my head. But
Oh, yeah, of course.
Did you take a lot of road trips as a kid? Did you have any idea that would be such a part of your life later?
I mean, occasional road trips, yeah. I mean, the rest of my family lives in Alabama, so I grew up going down there and seeing them, and, you know, obviously little family vacays here and there. And I think things started picking up for me right out of high school with what I was doing on YouTube with the cover songs and the viral videos and stuff. And I really started touring, you know, quite early, about 17 or 18. And yeah, it was a lot at the time. And it was really cool, though, because I think that part of the reason I love my home so much now is that I did get to experience leaving it and you know, on more of a temporary status where you are coming home at the end of the day, but I'm going all over the place, you know, and I'm meeting new people and seeing new ways of life. And yeah, I think it really had an effect on me. So yeah, I've been touring since a young age, and I've just kind of been in and out of a car or a van or anything for, you know, 10 hours at a time, and then playing the show and then getting back in and doing it again.
More than half your
Still
job is
here doing it.
driving,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's funny, you drive 10 or 12 hours to play an hour or an hour and a half, you know, and then it's on to the next. So yeah, it's funny.
People don't talk about that when they think about a career in music,
Yeah,
right?
it's a weird life.
It is.
It's a strange life, and I think a lot of people who don't, you know, understand how it works or just or you know, again, just aren't in that lifestyle. They see you kind of going all over the place, and they're like, well, that, you know, that's probably super fun, and that's like you're kind of getting like a little vacation and stuff, and it is super fun, but it's definitely not a vacation.
No. If you like sitting, it's a vacation.
Yeah, if you love your back hurting a lot and you know, just yelling at people to please buy tickets, then it's a lot of fun. You know, it's still a very rewarding thing. So, you know, last night's show was really great, and we'll do it all again tonight.
Awesome. When you were younger, if I remember correctly, younger than you are now,
Sure.
there was a blues covers band that you were in, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it was kind of, we did a lot of, we did covers and stuff, but we also did a lot of original stuff. Yeah, I was in a band that originally was called Say When, which was a take on the movie Tombstone. Have you ever seen Tombstone?
I don't remember.
Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell and stuff. Anyway,
think so.
old Western. But we were in that band, and then it ended up being called Guthrie after my last name. And yeah, I was front man for that. My brother played drums, and basically I'm just doing a different version of that these days because I'm still the front man when we have the band, and my brother still plays drums. So, but yeah, I think I got a lot of my start in my early days just listening to a lot of, you know, old classic rock and you know, blues and funk and all that stuff. So I think the kind of soulful grittiness that's in my voice is probably mostly from those days. Yeah.
Well, people who are just hearing you for the first time on my podcast, A, welcome. B, the records I held up for you to see, those are rock records. They're not like a singer-songwriter folky thing, right? So that's what I need people to know as well. Like if you're a fan of rock music and you're hearing this voice, combine the two.
Yeah, they're kind of, I think the third one probably gets more, you know, Americana country than the other ones do. But yeah, I mean, you know, when we do the full band thing, it's kind of a rock show. And then when I'm doing the solo acoustic stuff, it is much more like folky Americana stuff.
Do you have favorite parts of the country since you've seen way more of it than I have?
Man, favorite parts. Honestly, I really do like all of them for their differences. But I do really like the Midwest, to be honest. I think the people are extremely nice.
That's us. Wait, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, well, really, it does. And I think, a lot of the driving that we have to do kind of reminds me of back home. Maybe it's a little flatter, but it's just a lot of farmland and stuff. But also, I love the Northeast. We were just up in the Northeast for, I guess, 2 weeks or so, and it was really snowy, but it was really nice. And I think the driving's a lot easier up there as far as the towns are very close together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know if I could pick a real favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I really do enjoy all of them again for their different attitudes and cultures.
Upper, Lower Michigan in the fall. Have you done that yet? It's beautiful.
I believe we have. I'm bad with knowing where I am on the map still sometimes, so I'm not sure if I was.
We've done this to you, right? So this is where you are.
Right, nice.
Upper, Lower Michigan in the fall up here, really nice.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
You can't do that in your state.
No, not really.
I lived in Florida for a little while and I got in the habit. Well, I live over here.
Yeah, gosh, yeah. And Florida is one of those, you don't realize how big Florida is until you're in there. And yeah, Florida is like 3 different states in one.
And then there's Texas. But anyway.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of attention, as we mentioned, doing unique covers. When did you start writing your own stuff and singing them in front of people?
I started writing stuff when I was, 14 or 15.
Really?
Yeah. And,
Before the covers?
Yeah, kind of at the same time. Yeah, the covers, were really a way to get the voice out there and the name out there. And the idea was always to do my own stuff. But yeah, I started writing when I was like 14 or so to, kind of combat the teenage angst in my little teenage heart.
I did the same thing without a guitar.
Yeah, of course. You got to somehow. So I started then, and just kind of fell in love with it, and again, it was always the idea to do my own stuff, so I just started doing that. And I think the first record was recorded right after I had, the viral video, It's Sexy and I Know It, and just been working at it ever since.
I can't hear Wiggle, Wiggle, Wiggle without your voice.
I know.
Which is kind of fun.
I know.
That you've put your own stamp on it.
It's crazy. Yeah, such a weird little song.
It is a weird as a mobile disc jockey who's had to play it for people to dance to.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
Connect with it a little differently. Speaking of connecting, when you choose a cover, do you have to feel like you, in that case, maybe not, but do you have to connect with the lyrics to be able to do a convincing
I think
version?
nowadays, yeah. I do, when I do covers now, it's usually on my Patreon, and I like it because I have a little more freedom with it, and can just do songs that I like. I just did For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield.
Nice.
And, I did a Killers song, and so it's just stuff that I've wanted to cover forever, and just never really had the opportunity to. Or, when I was doing the YouTube thing, I really don't do too much of the YouTube game anymore, which I kind of need to a little bit. But when I was doing that, it was very much about like covering, the most popular thing that's going on. So, and to me, it just didn't always fit with me stylistically. So that's why Sexy I Know It ended up as a blues song for me. So,
right.
But yeah, I think nowadays it's more fun for me, honestly, than it was when I was doing them on YouTube. One, because it's songs that I get to choose and that I like, and I also get to like do a little bit more with them. They're not just acoustic covers anymore. I get to add a little, if I want some bass on something, I can put some bass on something. So yeah, it's nice. It's a good vibe. I really like having, I express myself through the original stuff, but I feel like when I can put my own twist on something that I love, it just feels like another way of expressing myself. So yeah.
Is that even a process you could describe, that reimagining of somebody else's melody on top of their lyrics?
Do you
have any training? Like, do you have a musical background? Like, did you take school?
Not a ton. I mean, I did like a year of kind of classical training in high school.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, I wouldn't say that would really contributed to how I do covers and stuff. I think nowadays it's a lot quicker process than it used to be. Just because I have a better handle on my style and how I approach things. But usually, it's always started with either an acoustic guitar or just like a some kind of guitar in my hands and working through, the chords that I know to whatever song it is I'm covering, and then just kind of, for me it ends up usually being kind of a broody kind of dark, mysterious take on, because that's just what I like. But yeah, I think it's just kind of running through it a few times and knowing, what works and what doesn't, and obviously trying to figure out how to use my kind of unique voice to tell the story in a different way, and give people what they want to hear, because people know me for my voice, and I like to kind of make that kind of front and center.
It's a fantastic voice. It's what drew me in too.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll get to this in a second, but it's one of those that I can't believe people don't. You should be filling bigger rooms. That's what I'm saying. So Noah Guthrie is my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives. We're here at Grove Studios. 3 albums out so far, some covers, EPs, and records that you can digitally download. New record on the way. Because I don't want to get into messy covers within the podcast, how about another original?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I would love to hear a cover, but I don't want to have to worry about like the blockade by YouTube. Like, that's not
I totally get it. So this next one, this is a song off of my album called Blue Wall, which is the most recent record, and it's a song called Only Light I Need.
Honey, turn off the news, 'cause all it does is break glass, cut my ears. I don't wanna hear it anymore. If you don't wanna hear it anymore, I'm taking signals from you. Let's make a getaway fast so no one hears. I don't wanna be here anymore. If you don't wanna be here anymore, 'cause the rain's relentless, or so it seems, and all the fighting senseless, turning friends to enemies. We're looking for the sunshine buried in the headlines, 'cause honey, you're the only light I need. So can we just slow down and let the candle burn out? 'Cause honey, you're the only light I need. Baby, let's get lost. Just take a deep breath, close our eyes. We've been standing in the smoke so long, standing in the smoke so long, and the fire's relentless, or so it seems. Maybe these burning bridges are just setting us free. We're looking for the sunshine buried in the headlines. But honey, you're the only light I need. So can we just slow down and let the candle burn out? 'Cause honey, you're the only light I need. For the sunshine buried in the headlines, but need.
Do I need to be? I feel like I shouldn't be in the room with you. You're so good. Noah Guthrie's my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives. We are at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. Again, I mentioned at the top, the home of this podcast for 90% of the sessions I've done. I've done a couple outside of the studio, like Jeff Daniels invited me to his property, and we did one there.
That's
and
cool.
Local band, the Ragbirds, had a practice space, and we went there. It's hard to do a band in here, but if you are a band and you're looking for a place to practice, this is the place. This is the place between Ann Arbor and Detroit. Perhaps, Noah, you're going to come and play a band show at the Arc, and you're like, damn, we didn't warm up. You could rent the space that we're in right now, or one of the
it's a
smaller
cool
rooms.
room. Yeah, works. It looks like it'd work great.
Show you some of the other rooms if you want, but this is a place to get out of the garage and get into the studio. So thank you again to Grove Studios for being such excellent hosts of this podcast for the nearly 5 years of doing this. It was almost 5 years ago today that I was furloughed from the job that I was replacing. This was a replacement for. This was
Sure,
I had an outlet to do interviews and expose people to music I felt really needed to be heard. And a commercial radio station actually used to let me do that. So I had to find a way to do it myself. And that's what Acoustic Alternatives is. So thanks for doing that. It was a great version of that song. And again, reminder to people if they don't own these records. I mean, physically, digitally.
Please own them.
Please own them because they're great. I mean, let's try and think them in the cameras here. But
Nice.
Highly recommend. Highly recommend. So anyway, oops, bumping stuff. I don't think you're 40 yet, but I've been in the music industry.
Thank God, no, I'm not.
I've been in the music industry since 1985 in one form or another. So
Okay.
I got a job right out of high school in a record store, and it's been pretty much all music industry stuff since: record retail, record wholesale, and radio.
Sure.
So I've heard a lot of music.
Yeah.
And I've been in the industry when something like this might not happen because you would probably have needed to be on a label for me to have heard of you.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm trying to imagine like 1969 James Taylor emerging and it being the same situation where there's a really big playing field and a whole bunch of people are out there doing the same thing. How does James become James Taylor?
Right.
How do we ever hear him? And that's kind of the boat you're in. You're in this big sea of people with this huge ability for us to find you. The internet is expansive and it seems unfair to me that you are not playing bigger rooms. I mean, this is not an insult. This is I don't get it. Have you figured this out yet? Have you figured out the industry and how, I mean, the things you've done to get to, I don't know where you want to be, but where I think you should be.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't say I have it figured out. But, you know, I think it's kind of what you said. I mean, the internet is a wide, wide place. And nowadays, you know, it's the only real place to get heard. You know, obviously, I love playing shows, and I love, you know, kind of hitting the pavement and doing the old school thing. But social media and Spotify and, you know, all these huge streaming services and stuff are the place where people listen to music these days. So you do kind of have to find your own lane in these systems. And I think that I'm close. I think that I have a little bit of my own lane as far as, you know, I definitely have a fan base, and I have a lot of loyal fans and people who have stuck with me for a long time like you. But I do think that I think in a lot of ways, without getting on a soapbox or anything, you're asking independent artists these days to do almost an impossible job. I mean, you're asking them to both make music that means something, and then become marketing agents for that, and then, you know, become distributors for that, and then also, you know, promote yourself on socials and, you know, make sure that you're doing it in the way that the algorithms like it, and it's just, you know, those algorithms change every single day, so it's just you're kind of fighting an uphill battle, I think a lot of the time as an independent artist, but for me, you know, it's about I'm a big believer in the kind of 1,000 true fans theory. I don't need to be a household name to be successful. I need, you know, 1,000 real fans that show up to shows and you know, stream my music and download my music and understand my music and connect with it. So I don't think you necessarily have to shoot for the actual stars to have success in this industry. I just think you have to kind of find your lane and stick to it and really work on growing and kind of nurturing your fan base. And I think there's a lot of different ways to do that these days, and I'm just trying to figure out which one works for me. So yeah, it's a strange playing field we're all on.
You preempted a question that was actually intended for later, but that's okay. It brought out a different one because I thought about what you were saying, and I thought if you could do something differently about your preparation for this job that you didn't necessarily know was going to be a job maybe in school, like would you have taken more business classes? Because really what you're doing is running your own business.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I think, and for me, I never went to college or anything like that, and sometimes I wish I had. And I don't know. I think that if I had, gone to school or, tried to do something at the time, like if I, out of high school, if I would have gone to college, I probably would have doubled down and tried to do something in the music industry, or maybe taken music business or something like that.
Or gone to Berkeley.
Yeah, or something like that. And I think nowadays, I don't know if I were to go to school today, I almost would maybe just want to go for something else, just to kind of broaden my horizons a little bit.
Well, you're self-taught really in the industry.
Yeah,
at this point
very
you,
much.
You figured it out.
Yeah, well, I mean,
best.
it's a good and a bad thing. There's a lot that I missed out on the music theory side of things, but again, I've kind of learned and honed my own style of playing and singing and writing, and I do think it works for me. But I'm also, again, I don't have everything figured out. I'm still trying to put the pieces together. And luckily, I've got a good team around me that's helping me do that. So right now I feel pretty good. I feel like I'm kind of in the right direction. But I think, yeah, it's a ever-changing landscape that you have to adapt to as an artist these days.
I'm not sure I would have done anything differently on my path if I were you, just based on what I've seen you do. And I just don't think the world is fair. I mean, 28 million views on Sexy, and I know it's 6 million views on the Guthrie cover.
Yeah.
And does it frustrate you that your originals, which are great songs too,
Sure.
they don't have anywhere near that? Like that's just frustrating to me as a fan. Like,
Right.
Come on, pay attention.
Yeah, I think it's more frustrating to a fan probably, just because I'm used to it now. But it is. I mean, of course, it's at the end of the day, I would love to have more, more streams and more views on my original stuff, and I do think that will come. But I also think a lot of that has to do with just continuing to write and release the best music that I can. And again, I do think that if I focus on that, it will find the people that need to find it.
Okay.
Because again, I'm not trying to find everybody. I am trying to find the people that connect to my music, and I really do believe you can make something special out of that. And also, I just think that you have to kind of you have to find new ways to, when it comes to just brass tacks of stuff, when it comes to making money and stuff in this industry, it's harder and harder for independent artists to make money. And I think you do have to kind of turn to things like Patreon and more direct streams of revenue from your fans. Because, at the end of the day, do I want, obviously if the right record label or whatever came along and it was a good deal and made sense, I would absolutely entertain it, and I'm sure I could find a good home on a record label. But also, would I rather be funded by a record label with their own self-interests, or would I rather try to be funded by the people that literally have an interest in just me making good art and good music,
They believe in you.
Yeah, exactly. So trying to just kind of rethink things and continue to rethink things.
I saw in another interview that you did, and it just coincidentally saw an interview, or actually it was just part of a DVD I was watching with Peter Mulvey, if you're familiar with Peter at all. Mm-hmm. There was a commonality that you both said, which was kind of weird because I was prepping for this, watching old things of yours, and then just randomly watching that. And you both said you learned about songwriting from doing covers. Like he would sit down and cover a whole album to become a better songwriter. Yeah. I never thought of that. I mean, I'm not a songwriter, but I just never thought, what a great way to learn. I mean,
you pick up a lot, when you literally get a guitar in your hands and get the chords beneath your fingers. So, you learn, let's see, why did this song work? You know, like maybe it was this weird chord progression, or like maybe it was this hook that just worms its way into your ear. So like, yeah, I think you pick up the tools of the trade, you know, and just kind of see what works for you and what doesn't.
Well, besides the millions of views you have on some of your covers, the last time we met, you had just completed your run on the 6th season of Glee as Rothrick, which I wondered how that impacted your audiences going forward, because I mean, I had just met you sort of shortly after that. So
Yeah,
how are the audience sizes?
Yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, I think right after the show, sizes of the audiences were bigger. But I think even now when, you know, maybe the size of the audience isn't as big, the passion from those fans is still there. Glee fans are very, very loyal, very good fans. I honestly, I just did another podcast for like a Glee rewatch podcast.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, we were talking about it there, and I was like, yeah, I mean, you know, some of my best fans are fans that found me on Glee and stuck around for the original stuff.
That's
and
great.
Still come to shows knowing that, you know, I really don't, you know, I don't like do really any covers from Glee anymore in the show, and people still show up and they love the music and just support me. And yeah, I really, Glee was a very good thing for me that I just didn't.
That wasn't part of your path.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever thought,
definitely
I should do
was.
TV before
No,
I
I never did. I never did. And it came along, and it just, yeah, it worked out. It's the right time.
Do you do any dance moves at the shows?
No. No, thank God. I don't want to blind people.
Well, I think any of my local fans, local music musicians from this area would love to have that kind of opportunity.
Sure.
Or even, I mean, you got America's Got Talent a couple years after, which to me felt a little weird. Like you've already established yourself on this TV show, and then you're doing the talent show. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not belittling you for doing
No,
it. I'm
of
just like,
course.
it doesn't seem like you would have needed to do that.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of part of the industry that a lot of people don't understand, because I you know, after Glee, had a little shot in the arm from that and kind of started doing my own thing again, started touring and stuff. But, you know, when you go on these shows or you have massive exposure on whether it's a show or a video or whatever it is, you know, those things are flashes in the pan to some degree. And you can't really base your whole career off of it. And for me, when I got done with Glee, I moved back home. I wanted to go home. You know, Los Angeles wasn't really the place for me at that time.
You're not much of a city guy.
I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I really loved my time there, but yeah, I'm really not. I'm very much a kind of a slower paced person. And I moved home, and you know, life happens, and I think for me, when America's Got Talent came around, it just felt like the right time to give it a shot, you know, and you know, you get little moments here and there, and when one comes knocking, then, you know, you try and capitalize on it the way that you can. And I think I did, but I think if I were going to do it over, I would probably make sure that I had, you know, like a full record ready to go as soon as I was like off of the show. Just because you really have to capitalize while momentum is there. And I think at the time I didn't quite have the right team around me. Didn't quite know where I was going musically, or, you know, when the next project was going to come out. And yeah, I think I did it, and I'm happy I did it. But it was, you know, I think that I could have capitalized on it, and maybe in another way. But yeah, you take opportunities as they come. And I think for someone like me who, again, I wasn't prepared to just move to Los Angeles and start just being in that scene forever. Sometimes just because you're on like a huge show or something doesn't mean that you're going to get the next huge show, or the next, you know, the album's going to do great or whatever it is. That's just how life is. And for me, I think too, I don't write the kind of music I think that would have really, really benefited from whether it was Glee or America's Got Talent. I think it's very much a pop landscape. which is nothing wrong with it. That's just not really what I write. I write the more, Americana-leaning singer-songwriter stuff. So yeah, you just have to kind of, again, it goes back to finding the audience that works for you.
You said a thing that really resonated with me because I've had a few people from the Michigan music scene that have been top 3 on The Voice. Mm-hmm. And again, you said about I wish you had a record ready to go right afterwards, and none of them did.
Yeah,
and
you
so
gotta
there was
have
that,
a plan.
Hey, a lot of attention, and then you can use that as a way to book
Sure.
bigger shows, and that just kind of dwindles away after a while. So
no, exactly.
It's a weird thing. All right, you mentioned your. We're talking a little bit about songwriting. Who do you think is the greatest living songwriter that's not being recognized for their contributions right now?
Oh my goodness.
We all know the big ones like Joni Mitchell. Clearly, people know Joni, and that's not an unrecognized talent. I mean, you working with Joy. Okay, great. That's cool. Are you doing that in Nashville? Are you driving up there to work?
Yeah, I do. From time to time, I go out to Nashville and do some writing and stuff. Man, that's a good question. Let me think.
When you're discovering music yourself, I guess where are you hearing that, and what really grabs you in that realm? I mean, you mentioned you did a Killers cover, but you also did, you're in different spectrums.
Very much
same here. I mean, I've got 18,000 CDs that are not all one genre.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now, just because that's one of those questions that your mind just goes immediately blank when you need to think of something.
Well, maybe there's somebody. Do you have a local music scene in Greer? Is there like?
We do, but I'm kind of. I need to tie myself back into it a little more, just because I started out, kind of touring internationally and doing stuff like that, and I need to build that scene a little bit more for myself. But let me think. So I would say, who's someone that's not getting recognized the way they should? I would say.
Well, maybe what are you listening to in the car on the way to your next gig?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, I listen to, like you said, a good bit of everything. I would say Dylan LeBlanc is a huge influence these days. I think his record, the Coyote record, is one of the better records released in the last couple of years. And I'm not really sure what kind of acclaim it's gotten, but definitely not enough. So I would definitely say Dylan LeBlanc. I mean, I was introduced to his record by a friend of mine in the Netherlands named Thijs, and as soon as he sent it to me, I was hooked on it, and I've listened to it over and over and over. It's very it blends a lot of things. It's kind of got some like Fleetwood Mac vibes, and just the more like straight on singer-songwriter stuff. But yeah, it's top to bottom a fantastic record.
I'll have to check that out. Thank you.
Please do.
I mean, my job is to turn people onto music.
Yeah.
So when somebody who is in the music industry says, check this out, that means a lot.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I think it's had a lot of influence on my recent recordings and stuff too. So yeah, I think that's honestly probably the best answer I have for you right now is Dylan LeBlanc.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Weird sidebar, because when I was doing research again to kind of dig a little deeper into your life, I didn't know you worked with Rick Beato at some point.
Yeah.
I see his videos all the time. Like,
yeah,
whoa.
First record was cut with Rick. Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to that apparently.
Yeah, well, he wasn't a YouTube star when I
when
I worked with him.
How'd you work with him?
Yeah, I was. So he had produced a few records that I really loved back then by Need to Breathe, and I wanted to work with him, and I was just off that viral video and stuff, so it just all kind of worked out. And he's close. He was in Atlanta, and I drove down and started working with him, and then ended up meeting all my bandmates that way for the foreseeable future. And then he started doing the YouTube thing and just blew up because he has one of these brains that's just he's an excellent musician, excellent guy, excellent thinker. So yeah, it's it's so funny when I kind of see his trajectory now. It's just like it's insane. I came to him when I was a YouTube, sensation or whatever, and now he's like the biggest.
He surpassed you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love it for him. He's doing awesome.
I guess I need to look at my Need to Breathe CDs because I didn't know he had anything to do with those either.
Yeah.
They're one of my must-see bands.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love them live.
Yeah,
They're
I think
so
he
great.
did like 2 or 3 of their records.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. He's a hoot. He's a character.
Fun sidebar for me, back when I was at the radio station in Ann Arbor, they were playing the Michigan Theater, which is
nice.
mid-sized 2,000-seater.
Sure.
And I'd reached out to my friend at the record label and said, well, we've had them in before. Maybe could we get them in again? I'd really love to chat with them. He's like, well, how about something else? We haven't announced it yet, but the lead singer has a new project out. It hasn't been announced yet, but would you like to do the first interview? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, cool.
So I got to do the first Wilder Woods interview, and I couldn't air it.
Yeah.
Like I had to hold on to it for a month until they had the plan in place to get the singers. I was like,
wow, that's awesome.
That was a pretty cool
Yeah,
honor.
Wilder Woods is good. Yeah, it's
well,
good. Yeah.
anything with Bear's voice.
Sure.
Give it to
Absolutely.
me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Bear singing in the bathroom, I'll take it.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of great singers, Noah Guthrie's here. He's got 3 records and a 4th one on the way. I don't know if you want to try and squeeze in another new one, if you're comfortable with that, but how about another song?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Why don't we do...
Is there a backstory behind whatever you're doing?
Yeah, so I would probably do... If you want another new one, I can do... this is a song called Choose to Love You. It's a love song that I wrote right after an argument and just decided to kind of express my feelings through song. And yeah, again, this one is just finished recording recently and will be out very soon. It's called Choose to Love You.
I choose to love you every day. In our brightest moments, when the sun has burned away, I choose to love you like a fool. In the hardest of summers, when we both have lost our cool, as long as seasons change, you and I will be okay. I choose to be there every time when you're finding your power, when you're making the climb. You know I'll hold you every night when you're lost inside your dreams. Always room for you and mine, as long as stories change. You and I will be okay. Okay, there's an answer we can see, darling. If it were up to me, we'd be dancing. There's a fire inside of me, and tonight I believe in second chances. Second chances, as long as stories change, as long as memory fades, you and I will be okay. I choose to love you until the end, when our bodies turn to stardust and we all can start again.
That felt like a hug.
Well, thanks.
That was great. New music there from Noah Guthrie on Acoustic Alternatives. If you are, let's give them some full disclosure. When we started recording this, it was about 8:30 in the morning, which means it's about 9:15 right now. And if he sounds like that at 9:15 in the morning, imagine what it sounds like at 9:15 at night in concert. Go seek him out. If you're new to him, like follow him around. Do what you got to do to support this great artist. There have been a couple of great opportunities. We talked about some of the things that you've done that were pretty fantastic accomplishments. I saw that also that you had chances to open for Willie Nelson, Dwight Yoakam, and folks like that. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I could probably answer this question without asking you, but if you could choose an artist who's touring right now to tour with, who would it be? And I'm going to bet Ray LaMontagne might be that answer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, absolutely.
And he is on tour again supporting the 10th anniversary of Trouble, right?
Yeah, I think so. That would, yeah, boy.
But how about somebody who's more, and not that you're at below, I mean, you're not selling as many tickets as Ray.
Sure, yeah.
Who's an artist you'd like to tour with that is kind of at your level to make a nice double bill?
Ooh, another really great question. I would love to do some stuff with Katie Pruitt.
No, cool. I love her. She's great.
I absolutely love her stuff. And yeah, I would really love to. I'd love to write with her, and I'd love to do some touring with her as well. I like everything she stands for. I think her songwriting is excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be.
Reach out.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to do that. So yeah, I hope to. Maybe I can make that happen someday soon.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would love to see that happen. Well, I'm really looking forward after hearing 2 of these new songs to hearing what else you've got cooking in the kitchen there at the studio.
Yeah, man, I hope you enjoy it. I'm closing in on it, so as soon as I can get it done, we can cooking on it.
Thoroughly enjoyed the 2 you played for me, and I can't wait to hear more. Website.
Yeah, just NoahGuthrie.com.
Simple.
And then obviously, socials and stuff. Instagram is only one Noah. TikTok, I believe, is NoahGuthrie.music. And those are honestly the 2 that I use most.
Okay.
So you can see me on there. And then obviously the YouTube channel. If you just search Noah Guthrie, you'll find me there. So
Something very important for independent artists like Noah, as he also has a Patreon page, which I have yet to explore, but I also have one, and I only have 15 people.
That's all right.
I need more. So if you're following Noah and you want to check out somebody who's supporting the music in a different way, I don't make any money doing this. You might have noticed the only company I mentioned is Where I'm At. This is the only help I'm getting doing what I do, and I love doing this to make sure that people can discover music that I think is worth hearing.
Well, I think it's good work, and I appreciate you, obviously.
Very welcome. It was great to see you again. I wish you continued success. I was going to ask you what you thought success meant, but you already answered that because you beat me to the punch. That was going to be the closing question, like, what does success mean to you? But
I just think it means different things to different people, and to me, yeah, again, it's just finding that fan base that'll stick with me through thick and thin. And so far, I've found it, but it's growing it to that magic size,
Enough to sustain you.
Yes,
Awesome.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, safe travels out there. More podcasts coming soon. Next guests you are going to check out if you're following this podcast regularly. Let's get that word out. Fox and Bones are scheduled to be in the studio with me next week. And then after that, as long as it happens, and I hope it does, we will have a visit with another singer-songwriter I've been trying to get in here for a while. Why am I drawing a blank on her name? Haley. What's Haley's last name? Oh, this is embarrassing. You'll find out. Thanks for listening to the podcast.
The magic of editing.
Yes. Have a great week.